know the little expression, time is money. As one computer said, if you're on the train and they say Portal Bridge, you know you better make other plans.
Say it with me. Say Broadway. The future is ours.
Those clips don't really have much to do with today's show, but maybe they do a little bit. Lefties are trying to defend President Biden's first year in office. California has proposed a ridiculous new vaccine law. Joe Rogan's taken some heat, but also the heat is coming from not the people they say it's coming from, and also the Fun Fridays. I don't know what we're going to call the ending segment, but it's going to be fun. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Might be the only brown guy in Earth named Jobob.
Actually, their name's Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live, and today it is January 21st, the year of our Lord 2022. Day one of year two of the Biden administration. We've got a very interesting clip from MSNBC that we're going to play at length and talk about a little bit later on in the show about a prominent lefty congresswoman, Katie Porter specifically, the whiteboard lady on MSNBC, making some funny claims trying to defend the president. A lot of those were wrong, and we will point out the parts that were wrong, so that's going to be very fun. And also, actually, you know what? We're going to get into this first. Here's some of the headlines that we've got for today. We're doing things a little bit differently. It's a Friday. It's the weekend. Everybody's excited. We're all excited. Wow. I just said we're all excited, and I'm going to start this off on a down note. This is a bill introduced by a California lawmaker. Again, I understand that this is a national show. I see the comments. I see that you guys are watching from Texas, Florida, Illinois, New York, all over the place. I see that people are watching from all over the place. The reason that I like to bring up California stories is because you need to know what's happening in these states, the country's most ridiculous and outlandish states, so that you can see when it comes to your state. Because there are people at your city council level, your school board level, even up to the higher levels of government that are elected that are trying to push the super woke nonsense that California is pushing. So I bring you these stories in hopes that you see that and react accordingly, knowing what's going on in California. This is a bill introduced by a California lawmaker, Scott Wiener, state senator. Children 12 years and older in the state would be permitted to get vaccinated, including from COVID-19, without their parents' consent or knowledge. This is real. This is a true thing. If you haven't already, click the little like button down right here. Click the little share button, because I know you have liberal friends. Conservatives have liberal friends. Liberals definitely don't have conservative friends in a lot of cases. But they need to see this. This is happening. This is a bill introduced into the state of California. Senate Bill 866 is the first to be proposed this year by a group of Democrat lawmakers that has pledged to strengthen vaccination laws and target misinformation of COVID-19 pandemic's contentious issues surrounding parents' rights to make medical decisions for their own kids, as long as they battle over vaccine laws. This law would make it legal for a 12-year-old, if you're 12 years old and older, to get any sort of shot you want, if it's a vaccine, without your parents' knowledge or consent. Here's the main reason why this is dumb. 12-year-olds are dumb. I tweeted this morning. 12-year-olds are not smart people. And this is not to disparage 12-year-olds or say anything mean about them. No, their brain isn't fully developed yet. Hashtag follow the science. 12-year-olds making decisions for themselves is a bad idea. In a lot of different ways. Think of yourself when you were 12. How dumb were you? I was very dumb. At 22, I was really dumb. So I can't imagine making a decision at 12 years old. Even if you think that decision is in your best interest, I can't even, there's no need for it. There's no reason for it. And 12-year-olds are dumb. So there's that. Also, taking away parents' rights to get their kids whatever it is that the parents want is absolutely ridiculous. If SB 866 is passed by the legislation and signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, it would go into effect January 1st, 2023. So 12-year-olds are going to be able to, if this passes, 12-year-olds will be able to make medical decisions for themselves. Again, 12-year-olds are dumb. And that is not trying to be mean to 12-year-olds. That is your brain's not developed yet. And you don't know what you're doing. I was dumb at 12 too, so don't worry about it. I want to get to this story. Joe Rogan, if you've seen Joe Rogan, he had a couple prominent doctors on, some controversy in some of those podcasts that he had on Spotify. Joe Rogan defenders point out that 87 of the 270 to pen letter denouncing his podcast are medical doctors. So there was this letter. Okay, so if you haven't been following this, there's this big letter, 270 doctors. That's how it's being portrayed in the media. That's not what the letter said specifically, but how the media is representing it is 270 doctors are coming out against Joe Rogan and his podcast. Except for only like 87 of them are actual medical doctors. And that's not saying that they have no value whatsoever, but then you have to say 87 medical doctors. And the letter itself clarifies that the signatures consist of a coalition of scientists, medical professionals, professors, and science communicators spanning from a wide range of fields. It was largely reported to be a group of 270 doctors, which is what everybody in the news media has said. On Wednesday, the Daily Mail reported that 87 of the 270 who signed the letter were actually medical doctors, including a New York-based veterinarian and a dentist from New Jersey. So again, you got your misinformation spinning its wheels constantly. Other signatories included teachers, engineers, psychologists, and social workers, according to the outlet. There's that. So those are our headlines for the day. This is going to be fun. I'm excited about this. Trying to defend Biden's first year. Katie Porter, Congresswoman from California, famous for her little whiteboard things. Sometimes she actually makes good points. Again, Congresswoman. I don't necessarily always disagree with her in terms of how she lays out her argument. Policy-wise, on what you do to fix it, that's not going to fly at all, Miss Porter. But she went on MSNBC. I believe it was Chris Matthews' show. I'm not entirely sure. Chris Matthews is not even there anymore. Anyways, she was on MSNBC trying to defend President Biden's first year in office. And she brought her little whiteboard and made some interesting little notes. And everything she said was factually true, but argumentatively wrong. As in, you said something that is true, but not really compelling enough to make an actual argument. It's like saying, why did the Yankees win the World Series? Well, because spaghetti with meat sauce is better than just marinara. Okay, those two things are true, but not related at all. So we're going to go through that entire video. But first, I got to tell you about protecting your savings. Do you have a savings account? You know that old prospector guy in pretty much all of your old-timey movies? You got to buy gold, sonny. That guy was right. Turns out he was absolutely right on what you need to do to protect your savings. We're going to talk about this in the next segment quite a bit, especially because Katie Porter brought it up in her little whiteboard thing. But inflation is at a 40-year high. It's at 7% last year, which is astronomically high, which means that your savings got deducted by 7% because the government is doing everything it can to sabotage the value of the US dollar. The more money they put in, the higher inflation goes, and the less you have in your savings relative to buying power, because that's the only thing that matters is buying power. So how do you protect your savings, you might be asking? Well, there's a simple way. Invest in precious metals, gold specifically. Probably thinking, I don't know how to invest in precious metals. What am I supposed to do? Do I get a gold package in the mail from Amazon? They drop it off on my front door. I don't know how to invest in gold. You actually can do it in a much easier way. You can learn how to do that by texting JOBOB to 989898. And our friends at Birch Gold will send you a full, no obligation, no nothing packet on how you can invest in gold to protect your savings against inflation. Best way you can protect your savings against inflation. If you have an IRA, if you have a 401k, you can invest it into a gold-backed IRA. That's what it is. It's backed by gold. You can protect your savings. Precious metals, historically, since the dawn of time, since the dawn of the monetary system, gold and precious metals have been the key marker in keeping value, holding value. Precious metals is the best way to go. So if you're interested in all doing that, text JOB to 989898. JOBOB 989898. I want to get back to this. This is Katie Porter on MSNBC trying to defend Biden's first year. Check this out. Watch this. I'm going to jump in here and make some comments where comments are necessary. Also, if you have any comments in the comment section, feel free to send them our way. Appreciate it. Check this out. Watch this.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember where we were 1 year ago when President Biden was sworn in. Families were struggling to put food on the table. We were still continuing to have a lot of job losses. Many schools were closed. We are in a much, much better situation today. In fact, where our economy is today is quite remarkable. And we now have, in fact, the fastest growing economy in this country that we've had in decades. So the American Rescue Plan, which Congress passed into law very quickly upon President Biden's election, actually has resulted in really fast economic growth.
Okay, so just really quick, when she says really fast economic growth, depending on how you measure things is the problem. And we're going to see that right here. Watch more of Katie Porter trying to defend President Biden's first year.
The United States today is experiencing about 5.5% growth in GDP. Now, when you compare this to our other nations, the G7, the seven most advanced economies in the world, our global competitors, none of them are even yet having positive GDP growth, a measure of our economy. We're seeing the same story with unemployment.
So we want to stop really quick there because 5% growth in GDP, I guess, is a good thing. But here's the thing. GDP is only measured on a monetary scale. So what that is the dollar amount, not the value of the US dollar or your buying power. It's measured on the dollar amount. So it's directly combated by inflation. So yes, Katie Porter, GDP did go up 5.5%, but inflation went up 7%. So on the year, we're in the red. That argument doesn't really make any sense, and I got some really interesting arguments against her next point. Watch this.
Unemployment today is down to 3.9% unemployment. And to remind everybody, the last time we had a major financial crisis in this country following the Great Recession and the bank crisis, it took 10 years to get unemployment back down.
So I read an article the other day that, I've known this since I was in college, but the unemployment rate is about the most useless figure you can use when trying to figure out what's going on in the job market. On top of that, U.S. jobless claims rise to 286,000, highest since October. The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose the highest time in 3 months as the fast-spreading Omicron variant, yada, 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 yada. The jobless claims reports, which come out yesterday, which is when this aired, so that I'm not entirely sure how she didn't see that and figure, maybe I shouldn't talk about the unemployment number, jumped for the third straight week by 55,000 to 286,000, highest since mid-November, the Labor Department reported. So there's that argument that is not any good. Let's continue on, Miss Porter. What else do you have for me?
We've hit this 3.9% unemployment number 2 years faster than if we had not elected President Biden and we had not passed the American Rescue Plan. And most directly, most immediately for families, they have more money to spend each month. The average American family has $354 more dollars each month, accounting for inflation.
Okay, so there's that. You can't account for inflation when you account for your money per month. But even, let's just say hypothetically, she's accounting for inflation because, when you say accounting for inflation, you can't correlate a percentage to a dollar. That's not a thing. But I did the math here, and $354 divided by your average, multiplied by per month, divided by your average salary of an American person, that's about an 8% increase. Okay, now we're back to inflation. If the amount of money they're bringing in rose 8%, but inflation is 7%, wow, you got a whole whopping 1% more money. Great. Let's let her wrap it up and again, it's comical. But what other choice does she have? She's tasked with defending the president. And that's a really hard job to do. Listen to the rest of it, and we'll wrap it up on the other side.
So even taking into account the global disruption in the supply chain, the fact that some big corporations are price gouging consumers, even adjusting for inflation, the average American has an extra $354 a month. And I'll tell you, that money makes a real difference to American families.
So it's interesting. Here's what I think the most interesting thing is, especially when it comes to trying to defend President Biden. Katie Porter is a smart person. I disagree with her on policy all the time, but she's not a dumb person. So to go on MSNBC and think that nobody's going to call her out on her nonsense stats with her stupid little whiteboard is kind of hilarious. Maybe she did know that people were going to call her out on that, but also maybe she figured nobody else watches MSNBC other than the super, super woke left, and maybe they won't even see it. But anyways, Ms. Porter, great job at trying to defend the president. I understand that was your best effort, but it didn't work out super well. I want to get to these stories. I'm not going to go too much into what it is that we're going to do full on, but it's Friday. We're going into the weekend. We're going to have a little bit of fun, right? I've got my friend Alex Spencer on to talk about some hilarious things that are going on in the news today. But first, I have to tell you really quickly again about investing in gold. Do you have savings? Literally any savings whatsoever. If you have $10, inflation went up 7% and you lost 70 cents. $10 is probably a bad example. If you have $100,000 in savings, the inflation tax monster just took $7 grand from you last year. Well, how do you protect yourself against inflation? Well, the best way to hold value historically, since the dawn of the monetary system, the best way to stave off inflation is investing in precious metals, gold specifically. I've been in gold for like 15 years. I know that might seem unbelievable, but yeah, I've been a precious metals gold investor for a decade and a half. It is the best way to protect your savings against the U.S. government trying to sabotage the value of the dollar. You might be thinking, though, how do I invest in gold? I don't know anything about that. Well, good news for you. You can text JOBOB to 989898, and our friends at Birch Gold will send you a no-risk, no-obligation packet that teaches you everything you need to know about investing in gold. Do you have an IRA? Do you have a 401k? You can get those into a gold-backed IRA. If you just have cash laying around in the mattress, put it in gold. I'm telling you, friend to friend, you want to protect yourself against inflation, because guess what? From all of the signs that are coming out of the White House and out of DC and out of Congress, I don't think inflation is going down. They're still pumping more money in. So protect yourself by texting JOBOB to 989898 and investing in the best value saver in the history of the world. Without further ado, so it's Friday. We have we try to keep things light-ish here, but also things are ridiculous, and so we kind of want to make fun of them about it. That doesn't make any sense in syntax. But we like to have some fun here, especially on a Friday. And so in order to do that, I brought in a friend who's been sending me some hilarious articles. Figured, hey, just come on and talk about it. This is my friend Alex Spencer. She is a strategist for influencer marketing and also a conservative talking head nowadays, right, Alex? Is that what you are nowadays?
I guess, which is kind of a scary thought, Jobob, but thank you very much for having me today. I'm ready to have some fun on this Friday, talk about some of the, usual ridiculousness that is surprising me less and less these days, unfortunately.
I like that. Surprising me less and less. So this first story. Okay, so here's the thing. You sent some of these. I wanted to not really look at them at all in depth.
I wish I hadn't. So.
So what is going on with M&Ms? I think there's the big M&M picture. What is happening with that? You sent me a photo, said M&M's gone woke. What's the deal? Explain to me what's happening.
Jobob, this was plastered all over social media yesterday. Kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Not really sure if M&M was under previous scrutiny, but I have never looked at M&M commercials or characters and been like, wow, I just wish that this was more woke. I don't know. I feel like that's a normal reaction to have about a candy commercial. I guess not nowadays. I'm not sure, but yes, they released this whole statement about how they're going to do a push to make their M&M characters more woke and more inclusive and
Good.
basically rebrand for this new progressive world that we're in, which basically just means we're doing this absolute ridiculousness in order to, appeal to the progressive movement. It seems very late to the game on this, because we're about half a decade into this woke, all these companies pushing for progressivism. It's not Pride Month or anything. It just feels like just really out of nowhere. So I don't know if this is just the spring training version of Pride Month, where everybody gets prepared so they don't seem like social grifters. Very confusing to me. Again, I don't know if they just woke up from hibernation and they were like, oh wait, now everybody's crazy on social media and they care about all of this stuff that nobody cared before. Should we start caring about that stuff? So yeah, that's basically what I gathered. Same boat as you, where I didn't really want to give this too much attention other than just reacting to the absolute ridiculousness of this, where M&M characters, like the actual candy, all colors of the rainbow, by the way.
Yeah.
They're not people. And
they've got blue ones, they've got green ones. What okay, so let's just put yourself in the mind of the M&M marketing team. What do you actually do to make the characters more inclusive? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts or ideas?
I don't know. I have no idea. They're literally all colors of the rainbow. I have thought this through a lot and I can't come up with anything. And you know why? Because it's absolute lunacy. That is all that it is. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm a fairly sound mind person. So it's just really hard for me to put, my mind, in the spot of somebody who is looking at the world through a lens of such ridiculousness.
Totally.
And I feel like I should put my foot down and just refuse, just based off of ethics. So
I'm going with Skittles. So there's this other story that Alex sent me that this is so juicy and fun. This is from the New York Post. Alex, can you explain what's going on here?
I wish I didn't have to, Jobob. But it seems like, just like the rest of the world, Dr. Fauci is also the biggest Dr. Fauci fan there is. So, and when I say rest of the world, obviously I don't mean, I mean the M&M marketers of the world, not us sane people. So
if you're just listening to this on the podcast, we're showing a picture that the New York Post had the other day, yesterday, where it is Dr. Fauci sitting in Dr. Fauci's office looking at a photo of Dr. Fauci with a Dr. Fauci bobblehead on his desk. All things Dr. Fauci all the time in his own office. Alex, so I am curious, where do you put your 5 by 7 foot frame photo of yourself in your home?
Jobob, I actually had somebody one time gift me a painting of myself. and my first thought was thank you. That's they painted it. And I was like, Thank you very much. That's very sweet. What am I going to do with this? Where am I going to put this?
Yeah.
There's no room in my house. It lived in my closet. That's where it was. It just didn't feel appropriate to have a giant photo of yourself in your house. That's how I felt. But maybe I would have felt a little differently if I was, instead of being me, if I was somebody that has just completely conned Americans for the last 2 years. Maybe that is the position that you have to be in to be comfortable with putting a photo of yourself on the wall.
Steph Costanza says he's so vain. Yeah, I think we gathered that from the way he talks. But yeah, I appreciate the commentary. Again, if you're just listening, the Dr. Fauci himself really loves the Dr. Fauci. He's got a big old. If you're just listening, you should go grab the podcast, or at least go find this photo online. Maybe I'll tweet it out. But there's a big old picture of his face, and it's not like a smiling picture of his family either. It's like
So it's not like a wedding photo.
Yeah, it's a I'm serious looking off into the distance as if I am Martin Luther King Jr., a photo of myself on my own wall. What do you think people think when they walk into that office to have meetings with them, with him?
It just makes me think like maybe he doesn't have any friends. Has anybody checked in on him? Like, do we need to send somebody to be like, has this guy interacted with like human beings? It seems like a very weird situation. And it's like you said, it's a very serious photo. It's a very artistic photo. So it's very over the top. I guess he has like bobbleheads in there, just a lot of Fauci memorabilia. So maybe he is his only friend. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but you see the way that the left is treating these people, and it's kind of been this shift from the idolization of celebrities to lifting up these public figures who are scientists, who are doctors. And it makes sense because you went from going to the movies, watching, TV, hanging out with friends and like talking about the stuff that's happening in entertainment, to when the pandemic hit, just scrolling through your phone and people were looking at these people to tell them, am I going to be okay or not? Is it safe to go outside or not? And that became the new age celebrities. And that's why you have all of these celebrities just kind of grasping at straws, trying to solidify their place in that new movement that, sees itself as very hyper intellectual, and it's all trust the experts, and celebrities are like, oh no, now I have to talk about politics, or oh no, now I have to do these vaccine campaigns. And so this, I think, is the new world we are living in, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I miss the world before, woke M&Ms and Fauci as everybody's idol. So I don't know how we get back to those days. I fear that those days are gone. But unfortunately, Jobob, as you know, this is the world we're living in.
This is interesting that I just wanted to pull up before we jump off here. Did you watch the Fauci movie? I, for one, had a premiere party at my house. Several people, they were all socially distanced. Everyone was wearing at least 6 masks. I did check for vaccination cards, but we had a premiere of the Dr. Fauci movie at the house. I
don't hate myself enough to watch that. No, so I have not. So you'll have to brief me a little bit.
Well, I didn't actually watch it. That was entirely made up story for broadcasting purposes. But the Fauci movie on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, the reviewers, the professional reviewers of such dramatic and moving cinema, gave it an 85%. Alex, do you think the audience score is plus or minus 5%?
I would hope minus, Jobob.
It's a 2%. The audience gave on Rotten Tomatoes, it gave the Fauci movie a 2%. I think that would actually be funny. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should watch the Fauci movie and have a live reaction to it.
When did it come out? I didn't even know there was a Fauci movie. I'm not surprised again.
What?
But
dude, Disney put out a Fauci, it's just called Fauci. And it's a feature-length documentary about Fauci and his career and his fight against the coronavirus. It is honestly comical. I haven't actually watched it, but maybe we should get a group of people together and all watch the movie together and make fun of it as it so deserves.
At least quadruple masked, as you mentioned.
Well, yeah, and at least 15 feet apart, because obviously the 6 feet was arbitrary. The CDC has admitted that. So I want to just make sure we're safe. Actually, we'll do it in separate rooms with masks and checking vaccinations.
One of those Facebook hangouts.
Yeah, there we go. Well, maybe we'll do it like that. But Alex, hey, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate the commentary and the humor to send us into the weekend. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I appreciate it. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be right back here, same time, same place, same bat channel, same bat station next week, Monday, to talk about, the March for Life is happening this weekend in DC. We got an interesting guest coming on to talk about that on Monday. So that'll be good. And let me see, anything else coming in here that's interesting? No, that's pretty much it. We'll see you back here Monday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend. God bless America.